Okay, let's get it, let go. What's good, fam? It's your boy JuiceWRLD's. You know the name, you know the face, you know the time and the place. Today we're back again, brand new react, guys. New body cam footage of JuiceWRLD's Unaliving goes viral. Alright, apparently this is fresh, hot off the press. Brand new footage just leaked. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
This is the body cam footage that has the entire hip-hop community talking. After 4 years, we finally have the raw, uncut truth about JuiceWRLD's final moments. And boy, it's terrifying. What happened at that airport will shock you, and the police response will leave you asking serious questions. Let's get into it. The footage that shocked the world. New body cam footage of JuiceWRLD's final moments just dropped, showing the real deal from December 8th, 2019. The day we lost one of the realest young artists to ever bless the game.
A real one.
This isn't just some regular police footage drop. This is raw, uncut footage of a 21-year-old superstar's last moments, and it hits different than anything we've seen before. The footage came through official channels, probably from some legal stuff or public records requests, and it went viral faster than a fire track on TikTok. But this wasn't the good kind of viral. This was some heavy, disturbing content that split people right down the middle about what should and shouldn't be shared when it comes to somebody's final moments. Let's keep it 100 about who JuiceWRLD really was before that tragic December day. Jared Anthony Higgins came up from nothing, grinding on SoundCloud until he became a worldwide phenomenon. His breakthrough hit Lucid Dreams went crazy, hitting #2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and going diamond, setting him up for what everyone thought would be a legendary career.
Lucid Dreams was the smash.
It was a legendary career. Even in that short time, JuiceWRLD had a legendary career. Come on.
Now, what was the idea and the feeling of Lucid Dream?
Hey man, Vertag man, hi sense. Why are you coming with your advert here? Please get out of my scruns. Vertag man, you bastard.
It's funny because I wrote that song in like 15 minutes, and then on the original mixtape that it was on, I didn't think that was gonna be it was just another song. Obviously I liked it enough to put it on the project.
But fame came with a price that was way too steep. Juice kept it 100 about his demons, the mental health struggles, the addiction issues that became the backbone of his music.
The shadows in his room.
Using Xanax, perks, and lean, and millions of young fans connected with that pain because they were going through the same struggles in their own lives.
And I don't feel like a lot of guys express that.
No. And the people that do, like, people be ready to make fun of them for it when they got the same feelings. They just scared to say it, you know? But, like, I feel like as far as, like, I didn't know that many people was gonna be able to relate to heart. It surprised me how many people related to that song, you know?
Everybody has their heart broken.
But they don't talk about it.
But a lot of people don't
Especially
talk
guys.
about it, though.
Girls talk about it, but guys don't do songs expressing how heartbroken they were.
December 8th, 2019. Juice was flying private from Cali to Chicago's Midway Airport when everything went sideways. The feds were already waiting for him, tipped off about contraband on the plane. What went down next became one of the most controversial situations in hip-hop history. The newly released body cam footage shows exactly how tragic that day was, and it's heartbreaking to watch. The footage captures Juice having a seizure, all the chaos that followed, and the desperate attempts to save his life. But what's really messed up is how it shows cops who seem more worried about their investigation than helping a young man who was dying right in front of them. The audio from that footage hits you right in the chest. Ali Lottie, Juice's girl at the time, can be heard saying, "You're gonna be okay, baby," trying to comfort him during his medical emergency. Her voice, full of panic and desperation, reminds you that this wasn't just about losing a talented artist. This was about real people experiencing real trauma. The footage also shows Chris Long, a photographer who was there, getting arrested while Juice was having his medical emergency. The body cam shows people getting handcuffed while JuiceWRLD was in distress, which has fans and critics asking serious questions about police priorities when someone's life is on the line.
Some boots. Yeah. Sit down, man.
But why is all this footage blurred, man? What's the point of the video?
When this footage hit social media, the reaction was immediate and intense. User at Most Hip Hop posted saying sharing the body cam footage of JuiceWRLD's final moments is actual disgusting behavior, speaking for a lot of people who felt like sharing someone's death was crossing the line. The streets were divided on this one. Some people, like at Royal_Bobby24, said it was disrespectful to Juice's family and they should let him rest in peace. But others, like at Yazuzia, argued that even though sharing it was wrong, it exposed the police's lack of care, suggesting the footage could show how messed up law enforcement's response really was. This whole situation reflects the tension between wanting transparency and respecting human dignity. Some people argue that footage like this serves the public by showing what really happens when police interact with people during emergencies. Others think sharing someone's final moments is exploitative and causes more pain to grieving families. As one Instagram user pointed out, "I know it's bad, but the police have to legally release the body cam footage as they do," suggesting the release might have been required by law rather than someone's choice. This raises questions about laws around releasing sensitive police footage, especially when it involves death and trauma. The timing of this release, coming over 4 years after Juice's death, made it even more controversial. For his family and fans who were starting to heal, seeing this footage brought back all that pain and trauma. Why did it take so long for this to come out? Was someone trying to keep it buried? Most importantly, this footage has people re-examining what really happened when Juice died. The official cause of death was an accidental overdose of oxycodone and codeine, but the body cam footage raises new questions about whether law enforcement's actions played a role in the tragedy. The search happening when Juice had his seizure wasn't random. Federal agents and Chicago police were taking drugs and guns from luggage when it happened, which means they knew what they were looking for before they even got there. This has people wondering if the stress from the investigation made Juice take the drugs that would end up killing him. As we dig deeper into this story, it's clear that this body cam footage release is about way more than just satisfying curiosity. It's about accountability, transparency, and trying to balance the public's right to know with respecting human dignity. It's about mental health, addiction, and the pressures young artists face in the music industry. And it's about the continuing legacy of a young man whose life was cut short, but whose impact is still felt years later. The controversies that had everyone heated. When that body cam footage of JuiceWRLD's last moments hit the internet, it didn't just go viral. It started a whole firestorm that exposed some real problems with how police handle situations when someone's life is on the line. What that footage showed about Chicago PD's response had people heated and demanding answers about how law enforcement deals with medical emergencies, especially when it involves celebrities and ongoing investigations. The most damaging part of the footage was how cold some of those officers seemed while Juice was having his seizure. The footage showed police not moving fast enough to help Juice while he was seizing, with one female officer looking frantic, while other officers seemed like they didn't care. That lack of urgency became the main criticism, with people saying the cops cared more about their case than saving a life. The difference between how the officers reacted really stood out and had social media going crazy. Reddit users were some of the most vocal critics, expressing shock at what they witnessed.
The perfect pasta can
What's heck with your pasta, man?
never have too much Parmalat
Out of
cheese.
here, man.
That's like saying you have too much money.
Oh,
because
God.
everything needs Parmalat.
Okay, Parmalat.
Comments on Reddit included reactions like, "They didn't help him at all," showing how angry and disbelieving people felt watching that footage. This led to accusations of negligence and serious questions about whether police are properly trained for medical emergencies. But the controversy goes way beyond just how they responded to Juice's seizure. One of the most messed up parts was the decision to handcuff and arrest people while a medical emergency was happening right in front of them.
I just want to say quickly, guys, if this wasn't Juice, would people still feel the same way? Because think about it from the police perspective as well. I'm just playing devil's advocate, okay? Look at it from the police's perspective. Like, you've been tipped off that there's guns and drugs and all these type of things on a plane. And this plane comes in, you find the guns and drugs. Allegedly, I think they found the guns and drugs. So you find the guns and drugs. And then one of the people you apprehend is overdosing. Now, in your mind, you could think of them as, okay, this could be a criminal. Are you really going to care if a criminal is importing drugs as a police officer? You're going to be like, well, you're not really going to show him remorse. I'm just saying that's probably where they're coming from. They're like, well, this guy was importing drugs and illegal weapons and all these things, or crossing them across the border, shipping them across the border, whatever the case was. And now he has this seizure. Now we're supposed to, medical attention. You know, maybe in their mind they felt like, hey, dude, Why is he doing this anyway? Why should we now rush to save a criminal? That's what I think the thinking is. Anyway, let me carry on.
Footage shows
That's
Chris
just
Long, the videographer,
devil's
and
advocate,
others
okay?
getting handcuffed while JuiceWRLD was in distress, which has been widely criticized as having the wrong priorities. Chris Long's own account of what happened that day gives crucial context for understanding the controversy. In an emotional interview, he talked about the events leading up to Juice's death and the conversations they had about getting help for his addiction.
You know, like, and I'm like, I know it's hard, and you think, you know, you get mad or whatever, and it was an emotional moment. You know, I told him too, I'm like, bro, like, there is one point I'm like, I will do as many pills as you do every day for a month. If you go to rehab, I'll go to rehab with you. Like, I'll if that's what it takes, you know what I mean? Like,
the optics of this whole situation are terrible for law enforcement. Here you have a young brother having a seizure, possibly dying, and instead of everyone focusing on medical help, officers were worried about making arrests and continuing their investigation. Discussions on platforms like KT2.com showed this frustration, with users saying, "F those pigs." They were more concerned with arresting everyone and didn't give if he lived or not. Chris Long's account of the last real conversation he had with Juice shows how deep their concern was about his addiction.
Like, I'll if that's what it takes, you know what I mean? Like, and then like, we were walking in the bathroom and we had that little talk, and I'm like, we love you, we just, you know what I mean? And he's like, I don't want to stop. I go, you don't want to stop, you're out of control, you know what I mean? So
this raises real questions about police protocols and training. When a medical emergency happens during an investigation, what should come first? Should officers immediately shift all resources to medical help, or should they keep doing their law enforcement job while medical professionals handle the emergency?
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't see in the footage here if medical staff are present, but maybe the medical staff were present and they just weren't able to, you know, show that they were resuscitating him here. So those policemen were just standing by because obviously they're not medically trained. They're more so policemen, right? So what are they supposed to do, really? They're supposed to carry on with their job and the medics carry on with their job. That's, you know, well, if the medics are here, I don't know if they're here or not, so I don't know.
Which suggests that in this case, the investigation came first, and many argue that this priority structure contributed to a delayed and inadequate response. The timing of the ambulance call became another major controversy. Reports suggest police delayed calling an ambulance, focusing on taking guns and drugs first. If that's true, it represents a massive failure in emergency response. Every second counts during a medical emergency, especially one involving a potential overdose, and any delay in calling for professional medical help could have meant life or death. Chris Long's detailed account of what happened on the plane and at the airport gives crucial insights into how everything went down.
We were going back to Chicago for his birthday. His mom was like renting out like a go-kart track for him and stuff, like, but we were late for the plane. We were like really late for the plane, like 6 hours. Like, Pete was like, yo, they're gonna cancel it on us. Pete wasn't there, he was calling.
How many adverts, man? Damn.
I'm fixing my future.
Okay.
Because someone has to.
We don't care.
Like, they're gonna cancel on us, like, get it.
The delayed medical response becomes even more troubling when you consider the bigger picture. The search of Juice's plane wasn't a surprise. It was a planned operation based on federal intelligence.
You see, so if it was planned, doesn't mean they're expecting criminals. So now, in their mind, this is a criminal that they're dealing with. They're not dealing with the superstar JuiceWRLD. They're dealing with a criminal. It's only us who are like, oh my god, why they ignore Juice like that? You know, guys, we gotta see it from other people's perspectives as well.
Law enforcement knew they were walking into a potentially volatile situation involving drugs and firearms. Given this knowledge, you'd think they would have had medical personnel on standby, or at least had protocols for handling medical emergencies that might come up during such operations. The administration of Narcan, a drug used to reverse opioid overdoses, has also become controversial. The footage mentions Narcan being given, though in 2019, not all officers carried it. While Juice was given Narcan, it didn't work because of how severe his condition was, which reportedly included internal bleeding. Reddit users noted that Juice coughed up coffee grain-like blood, indicating internal bleeding for a while. Narcan unlikely to save him, adding complexity to the debate over whether a faster response could have changed things. Chris Long described the chaotic scene when they realized something was seriously wrong.
You know, it was weird. That plane ride was weird. I actually had a bad feeling immediately.
I remember you telling me that.
And I was sitting down, and then the pilot was acting weird, the stewardess lady was acting weird, and I just felt something off, you know? I got up to like, yo, we should leave.
The emotional impact of the footage, especially capturing Ali Lottie's distress during the incident, added a deeply human element to the controversy. The footage captures Ali's emotional distress, with her cries and screams audible, highlighting how traumatic the event was for those present. Her pain serves as a stark reminder that while people debate protocols and procedures, real people were experiencing unimaginable trauma in those moments. Chris Long's memory of the moment everything went wrong is particularly heartbreaking.
And then that's when like all the chaos broke loose. He made this weird noise. It was like something I've never heard, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like a weird groaning noise or whatever. And then all of a sudden I look and he was just on the ground. And then
the contrast between Ali's desperate attempts to comfort and help Juice and the apparent coldness of some officers has been particularly striking for people who watch the footage. Her grief and how her drug issues got worse after his death have been highlighted in discussions, showing the lasting impact of this tragedy on those who survived it. The account of how law enforcement handled things while Juice was having his medical emergency is particularly disturbing.
And then the cops kind of just grabbed us all and just handcuffed us all together, arm to arm. Everybody but Ali. Ali wouldn't let go of Juice. She grabbed him, tried to put him on his side and stuff like that.
The broader implications of these controversies extend way beyond just this one incident. The footage has become a way to examine systemic issues in policing, particularly how law enforcement handles situations involving celebrities, medical emergencies, and ongoing criminal investigations. The criticism has been sharp and sustained, with widespread calls for police to be held accountable, with suggestions of legal action or disciplinary measures. Chris Long's description of the officer's response during the crisis highlights the controversy.
It seemed like all the cops there just didn't give a shit. Like, they sat there very nonchalantly, and Ali's screaming to call 911. There was one female, I don't know, she was a cop. She seemed like she was in plain clothes, but I don't know what she was. But
some critics have gone further, arguing that the incident reflects broader patterns of how law enforcement treats black celebrities and artists. While racial dynamics weren't explicitly highlighted in the footage, the broader context of Juice's previous encounters with law enforcement, including a 2018 arrest at LaGuardia Airport for codeine and marijuana, has led some to question whether racial profiling played a role in the federal investigation that led to his death. The moment when Chris...
Wait, but didn't they find guns and drugs? I mean, it's all good and well to say profiling, but if they profile you and you actually have the guns and drugs, I mean, you know, what you gonna say?
Learned about his friend's death while in custody is particularly painful.
And then, I mean, I didn't find out he was gone until I was in jail. I was just in the holding cell. And then I was handcuffed to the wall, and these two detectives just walked in. And they're like, literally verbatim, they're like, we don't give a shit about anything else. We just want to know about the kid that died. And I was like, what? I'm like, who died?
That is so heartless.
These controversies represent more than just criticism of individual officers or agencies. They reflect deeper systemic issues that affect how law enforcement operates in high-profile cases involving celebrities, drugs, and medical emergencies. The intensity of the public reaction suggests that this incident touched a nerve about police accountability and the value placed on human life during law enforcement operations. The real impact and what the streets learned. The viral spread of JuiceWRLD's Bodycam footage did way more than just get people talking on social media. It fundamentally changed how we understand his death, sparked real conversations about systemic problems in law enforcement, and continued the complex legacy of an artist whose influence goes far beyond his music. The aftermath of this footage's release shows not just the immediate controversies, but the lasting impact on families, fans, communities, and institutions that are still dealing with its implications. The immediate impact on Juice's family can't be overstated. For over 4 years, they had been processing their grief and working to honor his memory in positive ways. His mother, Carmela Wallace, had established the Live Free 999 Foundation to support young people with anxiety, addiction, and depression, turning personal tragedy into a force for helping others. The sudden release and viral spread of her son's final moments was like reopening wounds that had slowly begun to heal. In her first national TV interview since her son's death, Carmela Wallace spoke honestly about the challenges of losing Juice and her mission to help other families avoid similar tragedies.
You know, as a mom, you can't help it. You know, you can't help but wonder.
You've got the best live football in the world.
Oh my
God.
God.
I mean, who doesn't love that, right?
And it's not just the best.
Get out of here, please.
you know, where his career would be, you know, where his life would be at this point. In my head, I would say, you know, he wouldn't be struggling anymore with drugs. You know, he would have conquered that and just living his best life. So
the reaction from Juice's fan base has been particularly intense and revealing. His music had always connected with young people struggling with mental health issues, addiction, and feelings of being left out. For many of these fans, seeing the footage of their hero's final moments wasn't just disturbing, it was traumatizing. Fan discussions on platforms like Reddit have shown the deep emotional impact, with many expressing that watching the footage felt like losing him all over again. Carmela Wallace reflected on her son's openness about his struggles and how it connected with his fans.
Well, in high school, he had therapy because he had impulsive behavior. So I had him see a psychologist.
Why do black news reporter or black ladies who interview, what do you call them? Interviewers, I don't even know, talk show hosts or whatever, you know, they always have that stare. Like, I don't see white ladies doing it. It's the black ladies always like, it's like staring into your soul, blah. I don't know what we on sometimes, bro.
So he was used to communicating and really getting in touch with his feelings.
What were you seeing at age 15?
The impact on the hip-hop community has been deep and multifaceted. The footage has reignited discussions about drug culture in rap, with some artists and critics arguing that the genre's glorification of substance use contributed to Juice's death. This has led to soul-searching within the industry about responsibility and influence, particularly regarding young artists who may be vulnerable to addiction. Carmela Wallace spoke about the early signs she noticed and her attempts to help her son.
Sometimes it would seem like something was a little off, you know, something was a little different and not quite right, but I couldn't really put my hand on that he was actually using drugs.
So even before he released his first hit, he had started using.
Yes.
Some established artists have used the renewed attention to advocate for better support systems for musicians struggling with addiction and mental health issues. The visibility of Juice's struggles, now made even more stark by the Bodycam footage, has served as a cautionary tale that has influenced how record labels, management companies, and other industry stakeholders approach artist welfare. Carmela Wallace described the speed at which her son's career took off and how unprepared she felt.
But it just happened so fast. It's like one day he was gone, you know, so I didn't have time to prepare, you know, that he's not gonna be here, because he went from high school to JuiceWRLD.
When he turned into JuiceWRLD, what was that like for you?
Scary.
When Carmela Wallace spoke about her fears as Juice's fame grew, her words take on new meaning in light of what eventually happened.
I couldn't protect him
from
anything that wasn't good for him. You know, the drugs, the lifestyle. I just felt like I didn't know enough about the industry, and I just felt helpless because, like I said, I always had to have a plan for him.
The ongoing posthumous release of Juice's music has taken on new significance in light of the Bodycam footage controversy. His family has reportedly earned around $20 million in 2022 from his music, 4 years after his death, demonstrating the enduring commercial appeal of his work.
That's
but
crazy.
These releases are now viewed through the lens of the tragic circumstances of his death, adding weight to lyrics that address mortality, addiction, and mental health struggles. Carmela Wallace's account of receiving the devastating news about her son reveals the human cost of that night.
Who told you?
My nephew. He called me about 3 a.m. and he told me that he had a seizure. He said, but he's okay. He's at the hospital. They're taking him to the hospital. So go to the hospital, and I just wanted to get to him. You know, I was just trying to get to him.
Mental health advocates have used the renewed attention to Juice's story to push for better resources and support systems for young people struggling with addiction and mental health issues. The Live Free 999 Foundation, established by his mother, has seen increased support and engagement following the footage's release, suggesting that even this traumatic development has had some positive outcomes in terms of raising awareness and generating support for important causes. The moment when Carmela Wallace learned that her son was gone captures the devastating reality that no parent should ever face.
And then the doctor came out and said he didn't make it. He said they tried to, you know, revive him. They tried using, you know, many things, and it just didn't work. And I was just devastated.
Perhaps most importantly, the footage and its aftermath have contributed to a broader cultural conversation about how we treat mental health and addiction, particularly among young people and celebrities. The graphic nature of Juice's final moments has served as a stark reminder of the real-world consequences of these issues, moving them from abstract policy discussions to visceral, emotional realities. Carmela Wallace's message to other parents reflects the painful wisdom she's gained through her loss.
I want to say,
damn. Davido! I can't skip, bro. It's not letting me skip. Okay, commence, man. Commence the movie. Oh my God.
Listen to your children and pay attention. Know what's popular in their culture. Because, when we came up, people smoked. They smoked. They didn't really pop pills. So I wasn't used to that, and I wasn't prepared for that. So I would just say, just have those open conversations and listen without judging.
Looking back at Juice's own words about his struggles provides haunting context for what eventually happened. During his interview with The Breakfast Club, he spoke candidly about his battles with mental health.
I feel like the reason why I make that type of music is that's just a part of me touching on emotions that people really be scared to touch on. So I feel like as far as all the sad music I make, it's either stuff that I may have went through, stuff that my homie may have went through, just something that I feel like people need to relate to and stuff to get them through.
As we look to the future, the impact of this footage will likely continue to be felt for years to come. It has become a touchstone for discussions about police accountability, media ethics, celebrity culture, and mental health awareness. The fact that it continues to generate discussion and controversy more than a year after its release demonstrates its lasting significance. Carmela Wallace's final message in her interview encapsulates both the pain of loss and the hope for positive change.
No parent wants to hear that, but I believe in facing things head on.
Bro.
So I think they just need those conversations and take the judgment off. And listen.
The story of JuiceWRLD's Bodycam footage is ultimately about the power of transparency and the complexity of truth. While the footage has provided unprecedented insight into the circumstances of his death, it has also raised more questions than it has answered. It has forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about law enforcement, celebrity culture, and our own consumption of
Bro, I feel like this man is repeating the same stuff.
The challenge will be to learn from this incident without allowing it to overshadow the positive aspects of Juice's legacy. His music continues to help people struggling with mental health issues. His foundation continues to support young people in need, and his influence on the hip-hop community continues to promote openness about topics that were once taboo. The viral spread of his final moments was undoubtedly traumatic for those who loved him and disturbing for those who witnessed it. But if it leads to meaningful reforms in law enforcement, better support systems for artists struggling with addiction, and increased awareness about mental health issues, then perhaps some good can come from this tragedy. As we conclude this examination of one of the most controversial pieces of footage in recent memory, we must remember that at its center is a young man who died far too soon, leaving behind a legacy of music, message, and meaning that continues to resonate with millions around the world. The Bodycam footage may have shown us his final moments, but his true legacy lives on in the lives he used to touch through his art and advocacy. The release of this footage has forced all of us, fans, critics, law enforcement, and society as a whole, to confront difficult questions about privacy, accountability, mental health, and the value of human life. While the answers to these questions remain complex and sometimes contradictory, the conversations themselves represent progress toward a more transparent, accountable, and compassionate society. In the end, JuiceWRLD's story, both his life and his death, serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of supporting those who are struggling, holding institutions accountable for their actions, and never forgetting the human cost of the issues we debate in abstract terms. His final moments may have been captured on camera, but his lasting impact will be measured in the lives saved, the reforms implemented, and the conversation started in response to his tragedy. The streets will never forget JuiceWRLD, not just for his music, but for his honesty about the real struggles young people face every day. His death was a wake-up call that the hip-hop community is still processing, and this Bodycam footage has only intensified those conversations. But through all the controversy and pain, one thing remains clear. JuiceWRLD's voice continues to speak to those who need it most, offering hope and understanding to anyone who feels lost in their own battles. As we move forward, it's on all of us to ensure that his death wasn't in vain, that we learn from this tragedy, support those who are struggling, and create a world where young artists like Juice don't have to face their demons alone. His legacy.
Okay, yo, Peep, Juice, and X. I was just thinking, man, to lose all three of them. Okay, I wouldn't say all three to drugs, but to lose all three of them in such a short space of time. Damn, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, this was a lot, bro. I couldn't even say a lot throughout this. I was just taking it in. It just took me back, man, to be like, damn, it's already been what, 4 years? How long has it been since Juice passed away, bro? Like, which year did he pass away? And I can't remember. But man, dog, it's so many talented young guys in the States that just lost their life so soon. It was the most talented guys, man. X, Juice, Peep, like, damn, bro. I don't even know what to say, man. I'm gonna just leave it there. I pray for Juice's family. R.I.P. Juice WRLD. We're praying for Ali. You know, and we just pray, you know, Juice's soul rests in peace. What more can we say, brother? Yeah, man. Is this